No. Translation barrier. No. Stop. Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is taking some heat and some flack right now. He misspoke. I just want to correct it. Okay, time out. Let's back up. Gilbert Burns beats George Masvidal in Miami. Huge attendance. You got the president, your president, the Kid Rock, the Mike Tyson, you got all the cameos, everything's said. This is a really big deal. Gilbert Burns grabs a microphone. He makes it clear that he is willing to fight anybody, anywhere, anytime, that he's the only guy in the organization that's willing to do that. He even gets Joe Rogan to co-sign it, to make clear that it's very uncommon to do, but he is the guy that does it. And Joe rightfully said, yes, you are. He then said, not anymore. I will not fight anybody unless I get a title. Okay, time out. Now he's getting roasted for this. You guys understand why, right? He took the one thing, he brought to our attention the one thing that separates him from all 700 plus other guys under contract. And he's right. He is the only one that truly will go and do that. Not just talk the talk. He will truly fight anybody. He took the one thing and he just gave it back. He said, no, I'm like the other 700. I'm not special anymore. And more than anything, let's say he's the guy. Because Gilbert Burns has a great argument, right? Dana White, was it on Pat McAfee? Dana White, as recently as this morning, went somewhere and said, whoever wins between Burns and Masvidal is likely to be held for the winner of Leon and Colby. That's what he says, likely. So Burns has come out and he's saying, hey, that's me. And to strengthen his case, I'm not going to fight anybody else but the title shot. You can't give it to him. Now, this could be a situation where they were gonna. And as recently as this morning, whoever won that fight is going to fight whoever wins this fight. You can't give it to him now. If the plan was to give it to him, you can't do it. You can't. Because you can't convince the rest of the guys that you're only doing it because of the victory and not because of the clause he put on it. So even if you wanted to give it to Gilbert, you can't give it to Gilbert because you can't have the rest of the division thinking that's how I just strong arm. I refuse. I say I'm going to sit out. I say I won't fight anybody else unless I get my way. Even if you were going to give it to him, you now can't give it to him. This is the argument. I'm coming to correct it. It's not what Gilbert meant. That's not what Gilbert meant. That is not the message he was attempting to get across. He was attempting to get a message across of, I've done everything. I have done all the heavy lifting. I haven't asked for a whole lot. And now I'm demanding title shot. No more contenders. No more do this one. No more let's see what happens. Title shot. That's what he was saying. That was his message. That's fair. As far as that fight went, I mean, Gilbert is as big of a pain in your ass as they have in this sport. Like, if you looked at on paper, Gilbert was meaningfully better than Masvidal on the ground on paper. I mean, you got an Abu Dhabi medalist versus a guy that never wanted to enter Abu Dhabi. I'm just talking about on the ground, on paper. But the question becomes, can Masvidal do enough damage on his feet that the ground, should we get there, doesn't matter? They love to tell you 80% of fights go to the ground. They're right. But 100% start standing up. We never quite reverse that, do we? We act like, oh, it's all around. It's all martial arts. Well, okay, then why don't you start the fight on the ground? If it doesn't matter, then let's just start the fight on the ground, because we never start there. We started in your round. So I'm only asking, can you do enough damage there? And what we found, Gilbert won that part of the fight too. He won the stand-up. And that's where you got problems, right? This is where the lights are going. Like, this is where everything became very clear in my life. I fought a karate guy named Machida who's never had a wrestling match. We're out there fighting. He got the takedown on me. That's where the world gets a little clearer to you. And you realize I'm not done with this sport, but this sport is now done with me. I mean, it's just one of those realizations that you come to. And I'm watching Gilbert. He's the boy. Gilbert's fighting good, and he's pushing a piece. And he'll even get dirty. He'll even remember at the end of the round. I don't mean dirty like against the rules. I mean he will just start fighting. He will set martial arts and training aside. When he was down on top of Masvidal, right when the bell rang in the first round, he was on and he was just trying to get shots in. He did that same thing in the Chimaev fight. And Chimaev, much like Masvidal, I mean, they're just swinging, they're trying to hurt each other, they're going all over me. This is a grimy guy with all the skills who truly does deserve something for all the lifting he's done. They finally threw him a world title fight just because you couldn't deny it anymore. They just finally gave him one. He'd beaten the former world champion. He beat the number one ranked guy. Finally, they gave him one. Tonight, he beats the BMF champion. He doesn't get to become the champion. And now we've got kids on the underground trying to hold something against him because he misspoke. He didn't mean that. It wasn't an ultimatum. He was not given an ultimatum. I know those are the words. That wasn't the intent. His intent was to show the separation and difference between him and the field, which is, I have done all of these things, which are supposed to be rewarded, but I've yet to be rewarded. And now I want a title fight. That's a fair message. In that moment, in the spotlight, in Miami, it was the right message. Give him a break.